Good morning. Good Monday morning. Welcome to the live stream this morning. I really appreciate if you are joining us. It's maybe a bit quick to say welcome. I don't know how many people are joining us, but thank you very much. And I look forward to spending another hour with you today. The whole purpose is good morning. Let's switch that off. All right. Good morning. Good morning. I hope you're doing well on this Monday morning. And the whole idea behind this live stream is to give you a place to come and unwind a little bit and to find some inspiration and share some ideas, ask questions, and just interact, with other human beings. This is about the community. This is not about me. This is all about just helping everybody that, if you just have questions or you just need some place to just unwind for a little bit, forget a little bit, learn something new. We do a whole host of things in these live streams that I do every single day. I started doing this from Friday last week. So what was that? The 20th, I think. And I've been doing it. It was Friday, it was Saturday, Sunday. So today's Monday. Tomorrow is a big day. Really looking forward to tomorrow because tomorrow is our Zoom training session. I've actually realized something last night. So you learn, if you don't do these things to the scale, then you learn as you go along. But so last night I realized that the license that we have for Zoom allows us to have 100 live participants. And it says then an up to 10,000 view only participants. And it was a bit confusing because I understood that, the first 100 would be able to interact and comment and do things like that. And then anybody over and above that 100 would just be able to view. After, I don't know, somebody asked me something and I went and I have a look. And then I realized that, crap, that's not how it works. So mistake on my side. There's an email going out this morning to everybody that registered to say that, the first 100 that logs in will have access. And then after that, you may get a message that says that you can't, that the webinar is full. But obviously, never an issue. After sitting down for about 10 minutes and wrecking my brain and saying, how am I going to get around this? Do we do immediately a second session and let half the people know that you have to choose a different time? And I thought, no, that's not for now. I will definitely do another session if the need is there. But what we are going to do is to also live stream the same webinar at the same time that we're doing it on Zoom. I'm going to live stream it to YouTube because that is one of the functions that we have within Zoom is to live stream to a different platform. You can live stream to Facebook, you can live stream to Workplace, and you can live stream to YouTube. So we're going to live stream to YouTube. The link to my channel will be in the email that goes out this morning as a reminder. So if you're unable to get into Zoom, although I don't foresee that should be an issue, simply because you look at webinar stats and then half the people usually do not show, especially when it's free training and lots happens. You book a week ago and then something comes up that you have to do. So I get it. We are also recording the training, so not really too worried about that. But it was sort of like, what I'm going to do. And it's just like, just sit down, relax, think about it. What are the options? And then make a decision. That is something that I learned yesterday from all of that. So, let me see. We are live this morning on LinkedIn. If I touch my face, don't worry. I haven't been out or going anywhere. I've been staying at home. So, hopefully, at least it will be self-inflicted. But I just want to see for a second from all of that. So let me see. Switch off the sound on my phone. So one of the things that I need to do on my phone is to check for comments from LinkedIn. I can't see that on the system, on my live streaming system. So I just put on my phone so that I can also see if anybody's commenting. I really want to encourage you to comment as well. That is what this is about. That's one of the ways that we can make this an interactive session. And I'm really the whole idea behind this is to answer your questions, and you can ask me anything. anything. That is what AMA stands for. So if you saw the sort of in the name of the description, it says Virtual Coffee with Francois AMA. It stands for Ask Me Anything. So please do that. Anything that you think will be that you need help with, or anything that you were wondering about, or even if you just want to make a comment with whatever, you can ask me about the technology I use. You can ask me about business. You can ask me about financial planning. You can ask me literally about almost anything. And when I don't know, I'll tell you that I don't know. And then we'll someone live go and research something and see what we come up with. But this is all just about spending some quality time together. Anyway, so thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. Let me get going. In the post yesterday when I announced today's session, I said that we're going to be talking about websites and social media, or really the online world in which we can operate and that we can use to our benefit and also to our detriment. So it's important that we use it correctly or in an effective manner. I don't know if there's really an efficient manner. I guess there could be, but being effective in how we use it. There are certain fundamentals I think that needs to be in place. Certain things that a foundation that you need to have if you want to go there. A lot of advisors and other financial professionals and business owners and just other people in general have still been avoiding going online. I saw a comment yesterday on a live stream that I attended, but that's very similar to this. It's actually where I got my inspiration from to start my own live stream like this. The guy said that, he started dabbling in some of the online stuff about 5 or 6 years ago. And then he just left it because he was building his business in the way that he was building it. And now he wishes that he gave it more attention. And that's the thing. You must, I think we should be positioned in a way that, it doesn't matter really what happens. A lot of people say, oh, I only have an offline business. I still have my premises. I still have all these things. But you know what? There was time to really consider what is available, what is possible, talking to you. Because a lot of times, and I found this as a consultant back in the day, I still find it in my business now. I've seen it a lot when sitting with advisors, is that you talk to them about their clients. We feel that we know our clients best. I made the same mistake last year where I thought like, this is what my audience want. And I was a little bit off, although we create great things for them, it's not necessarily what they want. Often when we do that, they go off and they say, that's not so good. But when we ask them, no, we actually wanted this. And it's sometimes a small little change, sometimes it's something completely the opposite of what we were doing. And it's the same with clients, it's when you don't ask your clients, when we assume that we know. I had somebody that I worked with that taught me a long time ago that, you always give the other person the opportunity to say no. And that's powerful if you really think about it, because, it's you would ask somebody, are you interested in this? Or, do you want to come with me to this? And they always say no. They always say no. And then at some point you stop asking. But there was that one day that the time would have been right and that the opportunity would have been there for them and they would actually see and understand what this is about. And they would have said yes. But because we stop asking, we miss out on that opportunity. And that is what we do a lot with our clients. We think we know them. We think we know what they need. We think we know what they want. And then we keep doing those things. And meanwhile, their needs have moved on. And it's very, very few of them that will, out of their own accord, come and talk to us and say, you know what, this is what I actually want. I don't like that, or I don't want this, or that doesn't really help me. So those things are important. I hope you have your coffee. Marvel is back this morning. So let's have a marvelous morning. I'm thinking about calling this the marvelous morning show or something like that. I don't know, but I think it'll be cool if we have something to call this. At the moment, it's called virtual, just plain virtual coffee with Francois, Q&A or AMA. So yeah, I don't know if there's any suggestions. You can put them in the chat below. Nice rooibos tea. I haven't had coffee for a long time, it feels like. I don't know, just so by the way, if you are in Johannesburg, if you are in the West Rand area, then there is a coffee place that, and it definitely didn't pop up because they started in 2014, but it's called Brew Coffee Roasters. So BRU. brew coffee roasters. They opened in Cradlestone recently, but they've also got small little shops all over the West Rand. You can go check out their website. Yes, like it is the best coffee. A friend of mine, I bought him a packet of beans because he's got a nice little cappuccino machine at home, and he asked me, "Listen, do I think they put drugs in these things?" Because he can't stop drinking the coffee. But anyway, so it's really, really awesome. So if you really want good coffee, go check out this, particularly the one called the Brew Blend. That's my favorite, but you can go check that out. And that wasn't like, that's just me telling you, thinking that I haven't had coffee, but I lied. I did have some coffee about 2 days ago. So yeah, good morning. So if you are on YouTube, you can do comments there, and I'll be able to pull them in on the screen. So good morning, Terence, Mr. TT. Francois, how do I design an effective questionnaire to send to clients and gauge their requirements, needs, and happiness with the service they're getting from my practice? Excellent question, Terence. So we've also done some of this, and what I've found is that you have to start with, obviously, like most other things that we do, with the end in mind. And what I mean with the end in mind is that what is it that you want to know by the end of that survey? So whether you have one person answering you or 100, what is it that you want to determine? What must be the outcome? What sort of answers should that questionnaire give you? And that would be the approach. So once you know that, you can say, okay, so if that is what I want to know, what are the questions that I need to ask? And there are certain things that you need to stick to. And it's very interesting. I did a survey not long ago about how people view refreshers, what they think about refreshers, what do they want in terms of refreshers. And through that, I had a good friend sort of ask me, but you should have given me more options, because you forced me only to choose one, and I want to choose multiple ones. But for me, that was part of the design, was that if you only had to choose one, what would you have chosen? So by knowing how you want to go about that, I'm not saying that was the best route. Maybe I would have gotten more answers, quite different answers, if I allowed people to tick multiple answers in a questionnaire. But I don't think that, what I wanted was, like, if you only had a choice of one, what would you have chosen? Which one would you prefer? Because that would give me, in my mind, a clear indication of, this is the most preferred thing, that if you had to choose between these two things, that's the thing that you would choose. Because I was trying to get to, what are we supposed to do first? And what would be the format, and how long should it be, and when should it be? So those kind of things. It was obviously a little bit pre-corona, but luckily we were able to very quickly adapt to that. So once you know that, Terence, and how you want to go about doing that, you can choose the question types. So then you choose the question types, and I prefer by far where you give them options and they can tick. And there's sort of two ways that you can tick. The one is a radio button. That's where you can only choose one option. So it's the round little thing that makes that black dot in the middle when you click it. But when you choose another option, it'll move. So it only allows you one choice in the question. And then you have multiple choice, obviously, where it's the tick box. So where you can tick multiple things. You can tick all of them, or 3 of them, or 2 of them, or just still one of them if you wanted to. But yeah, and then sometimes what I also do with some of the questions, if it makes sense, is to add a other question at the bottom to say, well, if one of these choices don't fit you, please put something in other for me. And the reason why you want to do it that way is because you are then able to get great stats. If we allow people to just put in answers, their own answers, you're going to have, like, if 100 people answer to you, you're going to have 100 different answers. And then just to try and to start to gauge what percentage of the audience said this and this and that, it's going to be very, very hard. So it's actually best practice to just have those questions, set for them, or the answers rather set for them, so that you can do stats. It's always also a good idea to leave, or to have a question where you say, is there anything else that you would like to add, for instance, and you leave that as a free text, and do it like that. So yeah, so I think that is some of the things. Other things you can do is, I would also not do too much in a survey. I would rather have a survey for the thing that I want to know. So in our case with the refresher, there was lots of things that I wanted to know, but it was all related to the refresher. What I also wanted to know is, like, how do people find our content? Do they think it's valuable? About a whole host of other things. But that was not related to the refresher stuff. So what I tend to do is to split those into different surveys. So you could have a little simple survey thing that just says, please rate my service. So you can have that little survey. You have the link at the bottom of your email signature, or at just above your email signature, for example, or you can send the link specifically to a client once you've seen them. Those kind of things. So, then it's very short. You can have a little star rating or a little slider that they can just, move to whatever they think. And you can also then leave a comment. And some of these forms allow you what they call conditional logic. So with conditional logic, you can say, well, if this, then do that, or else do this. So you sort of give it like a decision tree of what to show and what to ask. So you could say, well, if the rating is below, let's say your rating is out of 5, and that rating then goes below 4. So anything below 4, it must then also pop up a box to say, please explain, and how we can better and what we're not happy. And then it's a free text box that they can give you feedback in, and you can decide if you want to make that compulsory or not, or required or not. That's the other thing, which of those questions are optional and which of those questions are required. So one can also decide that. And there's many different tools that one can use. I see you click down the button. Yes. So what platform do you recommend? There are various ones that you can actually use. And I've been using Google Forms a lot because I can embed them onto a page on my own website. So I don't send people directly to Google Forms. Because I can do some of the things. Then there's also SurveyMonkey, but with SurveyMonkey, like most of these survey tools, they will be limited on the free version. What we have done before is to actually purchase a month. Let's say I'm going to do a survey this month, and I need all of this conditional logic and pages and different sort of things that the survey will do depending on your answers, because you can make it very complex in the back end if you want to say, well, if they answer this, ask that question, and don't ask this question. If this is the answer, do this. So you can go that far. I really do that, almost never. So in that case, I would just pay for that month, because you could have a monthly account with them, pay for the month, and then downgrade back to the free version. Because during that month you'll get that, but then you need to make sure that the survey is done by the end of the month and that you download the results by the end of the month. So there are certain workarounds so that it doesn't cost you too much. So SurveyMonkey is very good. What else? Microsoft Forms. So Microsoft Forms are also available. That's part of Office 365. Usually you can do some things with that. I do find it a little bit basic, but it does do some of the things that one would need. So it just depends, what it is that you're trying to achieve and what you're trying to do. So yeah, that's basically the thing. Yeah, that was a great question, Terence. Thank you very much. If there's anything else that I maybe haven't answered around that, please let me know. I will gladly do so. So yeah, so let's talk a little bit about technology and online stuff. I mean, this question of Terence fit perfectly into this topic, because that's one of the things that we can do using online. Something that I've now started doing that I've always said I wanted to do this, and I just never get to it, are these live streams. Because, it's like, what do I talk about and what do we do? And it's actually so relieving for me just to come and sit here 8 o'clock every morning and just have a chat and whatever comes up in my mind. So I've got a little framework of the things that I would like to talk about, but there's no script. I don't even know what I'm going to say about some of these things as I sit here. I just want to share my experience. And also, if you disagree or you agree or you have alternatives, then please share that with us in the comments. This is about us coming together as a community and let's learn in this time. I think this is the perfect time to really work on your knowledge and to work on skills and to it's, I think I said, was it yesterday or the day before? I can't remember now, but unless the pain of not changing is greater than the pain of change, nobody's going to change. And that's exactly the situation. So it's such a golden opportunity to try out new things, because there's more things driving you than what would normally be the case. So let's try all of these things. Anyway, so there are I think a multitude of things when it comes to online, the online space. We obviously have websites, we have social media, we have things like platforms for video, we have platforms for audio. What else? Then we've got all these tools. So we've got the cloud with a lot of tools and things that we can use, and we can actually set up our own things the way that we want it. Obviously, very few of us have got that that skill, unfortunately. So we usually have to pay somebody to do that. But that's how it goes. So yeah, let's talk a little bit about maybe websites first. There are different viewpoints around websites and whether it's still necessary and whether it's still relevant. Unfortunately, I don't have stats. Maybe we must see. Let's see if I ask old friend Google here. How many domains are registered every month? How many new domains are registered? Okay, here's a question for each day. So let's see if we've got an answer. So according to TechJury, there are over 100,000 new domains registered every day on a daily basis. So I don't know if these things are going down. I don't know when this was. There's no date here, so I can't. That's important. We need to look at the dates. So there's very few of these things that's showing dates. So I'm not sure. But I can tell you this, that my view has always been that is your quiet space. If you can get your client to your website and that website is designed, there's a strategy behind it, it's put together in a particular way to give value to that client, then that is what you actually want to do. Because the problem with social media is, and I know there's quite a number of people that feel that websites have become redundant in the sense that, for instance, LinkedIn could be your blog, it could be your video, it could be your, it's got all your contact details on it, it's got all your testimonials on it. So everything that you would typically put on your website is on LinkedIn. The same with if you've got an Instagram account, or a Twitter account, or a Facebook account, or Pinterest, or whatever platform that you feel is relevant. It offers a lot of these things, and people do now feel like, but why do they need a website as well? And all these things are for free, or most of them anyway. And here's the thing, while you're on that social media, even if they click through to your page, there are so many other things happening around that feed in your page that they get distracted all the time. I think it's very, very hard to keep somebody's attention on social media. So what we're trying to do is to create awareness on social media. You try and educate on social media. You try and promote on social media. You try and build brand on social media. But the ultimate aim of that is to drive people to your website. And once they get to your website, and this is just another plain website, like there's no more value. And if they need to ask the question between, but, I see exactly what I get on social media, I see on the website, so why did I even come here? That's a lost opportunity. So we need to start thinking about, like, what do we give them on the website that they would need? And then how do we speak to the kind of person that we want to visit our website on social media? So these things for me is really, they are integrated, they are fundamentally part of one another. And the one shouldn't go without the other, although there are people running very successful businesses purely from social media. The other thing that we do need to consider that I just want to mention is that it's now great that we sit with where everything must happen online because we can't go outside, we can't go and work offline. But what if that was reversed? What if the internet went down? Like in our case with load shedding, whenever we have load shedding, that's like the internet going down. You can't do anything. And I know, yes, there's but just think back to that first time when we had load shedding and you thought, oh, hell, I don't have internet. Now what? There needs to be a plan. So I don't think it's particularly, yes, you can have 100% online business. Yes, you can have 100% offline business. But maybe we need to start strategizing about how do we do both, because what happens if my trading website is people can't access it, even if it's on, because we host it maybe offshore, but it's online, but people can't get to it because they don't have access here, because it's down, etc. Or just the internet goes down permanently, for whatever reason. And then what? Then you start from scratch, and that you don't want. So we need to think about these things. I think the compliance people talk about disaster recovery and disaster plans and those kind of things. So we need to think about those things, and this is a great time to actually do that. Also, I don't think that social media has become the be all and end all of marketing. Not if I look at the events that we went to, like conferences and what you call these, like shows, trade shows, and those kind of things. If you go to the places where your clients would hang out, it's easy to give them like something maybe physical that they can hold on to. Although in those things, when you walk with that little goodie bag and you just drop the flyers in there, and I think you never look at them again. But we need to think about when is which method most appropriate. It is not about just social media. It's not just about this, not about that. What you would do is to say, oh, maybe I allocate 50 or 60 or 70% of my marketing budget to online, but the other 30% you should still invest in other ways of reaching your clients. And the most important thing is that you need to understand where those clients actually are. Where do they spend their time? What do they do? So those things are very, very important as well. So it's not just a quick decision. And one thing that I'm just thinking about quickly, what I wanted to say to Terence about his question around the survey is, don't rush it. Take your time. Send it to a few people you trust and say, what do you think? The feedback, it's like anything. When I design something and I send it to people and I get feedback, the first thing is, it wasn't good enough. But that's not it. We're making it better and better and better. So by doing that as well, so don't rush out it, unless it's a very simple question. You just want to know, listen, are you wearing pants today or not? Then that's very simple. You don't have to overthink that. But if there's something that you want to know, and you can send it to 10 people to just sort of give you feedback on it and maybe complete the survey for you so that you can see. And if there's questions, maybe something wasn't clear, I didn't understand. So those kind of things. And why I'm mentioning that now is because it applies to everything that we do in terms of online marketing as well. You shouldn't rush to get something out. Often, I must be honest, I do posts, like there's something that happens, I sit and I think about it and I do the post. And it's simple, but I've been doing it for so long. But when there's other things where I'm trying to get a particular message out, it might take me a couple of hours to put that together, and sometimes a couple of days to put that together. And sometimes I think about it literally for a week before I get to do anything, because the thing doesn't want to click. So that is basically my sort of process. And I think there's a golden opportunity, and I must commend and just applaud all the financial professionals jumping on social media, talking about, with everything that's happening with the markets and everything. They're really trying to communicate to clients, listen, the most important thing is to remain calm. The most important thing is not to cash in your investments. Do not panic. This has happened before. This is sort of the process. So there's a lot of people that's doing that. So it's really awesome to see how many financial advisors and planners and investment people are getting onto social media, trying to educate and remind and try and keep people calm. Because it's usually when they say, oh, this thing just keeps on going down, how far is it going to come down? And they don't think about the fact that things will recover in future. Because I think, if it doesn't, then most things won't. So it doesn't, I don't think it's that big of an issue. But unfortunately, when people get scared, they would take their things and run. And now we use social media to try and get that out. But if you haven't built an audience during the last few years, very few people are going to see that, or very few people are going to listen to you. They may be listening to other people. And that's the thing with, you need to have the long game in mind. And what is it that you're trying to do? Where are you trying to take your business? What do you stand for? What is your philosophy? So those things are all excellent things that we can communicate on social media, and then say to people, what, if you want to know more about us, or if you want to see how we can help you in particular, go to our website. And then that website is built in such a way to convey that message exactly like that. Some other things, maybe what we can talk about, in terms of, I mean, if you've got a website and you want me just to have a look at it live here on the screen, if you don't mind, I can give you some feedback on some of the elements in your website if you wanted to. If not, I will just be talking about it. Let me just have a sip here. Let me check the time. Wow, half an hour gone. Sure, that was quick. So yeah, you can some of the things that I see with a lot of websites and even my own website that I'm working on constantly. You try and change things and update things, and it's sometimes small little things like a word, or it's a small little thing like a placement of something that makes it better. And sometimes you have to redo the whole thing. One of the things in my website that I still need to do and approach really is the front page, so the landing page when you get there. Because what you want is when somebody lands on your page, what are they going to see first? And what does that tell them? Does it give them the answer like, oh, I'm in the right place because they're speaking directly to that person? Or is it, oh, no, I'm in the wrong place, and they go off? Because that's what you want. It's not only about attracting the right people. It's also about, avoiding the wrong people, not your ideal client, in other words. So those kind of things are very important so that we can communicate with the people that we want to communicate with, and that we can then draw the right people into our businesses. It's interesting to see when Google sends me stats at the end of every month, how many times have my website come up in search results, how many times have people clicked, and all sorts of stuff. And I can obviously see which pages have been visited the most. I can't see who's visiting them, but I can see which things are most popular and which things are showing up in search. So those things are very important because there needs to be that strategy, as I said, behind it. Like if I'm trying to do something specific, I need to understand what people are searching for. And this is the big thing where I think a lot of people have websites built for them, and then they provide all the content, and obviously then the other people build it. Whoever's building the website for you is then doing the layout and putting everything together, making it look nice, and hopefully making it responsive so it looks great on mobile. But then that's where it stops. Often they may, if you were using WordPress, there may be a search engine optimization plugin that's been installed, and certain things are being done. But do they really understand search engine optimization? Do they really know how to make you stand out so that if somebody starts searching? And here's the thing: when somebody searches for Francois du Toit, there are like 3 or 4 people that's going to come up that you're going to see. Sometimes I'm on the first page, sometimes I'm not. So to rank for Francois du Toit has been very, very, very difficult. It's been a long road. I used to be on page 8 of Google. I've come up and up and up until now. As I said, I'm usually at the bottom half of the first page, or then the top part of the second page roundabout. I don't check it that often, but the last time I checked that was the case. And what happens there is that, if somebody does search for Francois du Toit, there will be a pastor who's been on there for much longer than I am. He's got a lot of videos on YouTube, and there's just a lot more about that Francois du Toit on the internet, and therefore Google thinks that that's the guy that you're looking for. Then there's a rugby player, there's an architect, and then there's me. So depending on where things are, you'll show up on there. But in general, if somebody goes and looks for you by name, they will find you on the first page, and that's easy. The question is, if they do not search for you by name, if they're looking for somebody like you, how are they finding you? Are you then coming up as a relevant answer to their question or their search? And there's strategy behind that to be able to do that. A lot of things that has become very, very, very popular is for people to search for things near them. So I want let's say a takeaway near me, or a fuel station or a petrol station or a garage near me, mechanic near me, things like that. And if you go and Google that and see if you come up. If not, there are ways to get you in time to rank for those kind of questions. Because people ask questions to Google. They don't. A lot of times it's a question that they ask. That's what I did last night. I said to Google, okay, so what happens when I have more than 100 people register for my Zoom webinar? And then boom, there came the answer. and that's what people do. And there's a way to research your keywords. There's a way to make sure that you actually rank when people type those kind of words in, but you need to understand what people are searching for and what are they typing into Google when they search for people like you. So that's the more important part almost when it comes to your website. It is not only about having a beautiful website with lots of text on it and things like that. And if I can go and look at other people's stuff. Then also another point that I think is very important you need to make a decision around, what do you want like general information on your website, or do you want unique information on your website? I always say when people look at your website, they must think, or they must hear you speak. And even if they don't know you, once they've gone through your website and they meet you in person, that they say, yes, you sound just like you did on your website. So those kind of things are very important. And that's also where, one of the things that I've been considering is when you have somebody do copywriting for you, do they understand your voice? Do they talk like you, or are they more set on the grammatical use of words and using like, proper English words and big words and those kind of things? I don't know what the answer is, but for me personally, I want that thing must sound like me. If you hear me speak English like you do now and you read my stuff, then you say, ja, nee, wat daai is Frans over. So it shouldn't be like, it seems like I can speak something just south of Latin, but when you speak to me in real life, I can't even defend myself in English. And that's what I think we need to do, that kind of thing, because people that would work with you, and then also understand, if your audience is primarily speaking another language, then your things should be all in that language. Because if you prefer to speak or to work with people that speak, I don't know, Chinese or Zulu or Xhosa or whatever, then that's what all your things should be in. Because the question would be, I think that would be twofold. Or maybe you should have your website in two versions so that they can choose, which is very easy to do, by the way. It's just like, how do they behave when they are online? Do they operate in English? Do they talk in English? I did an experiment a while back, and what I did was I did an Afrikaans post on LinkedIn. I just wrote, it was in December, January, I can't remember. And that post went that went viral. I think I had over 4,000 views on that post. So what LinkedIn does do is it does at the bottom say, see translation. So I don't know if it stood out more because it wasn't in English, and then people, I don't know, because I can't see how many people went to see the translation. But I don't know, is it maybe a case of there's more people wanting Afrikaans content, for example, or was it just the case that, wow, this looks funny, let me see what this means in what this guy is saying in English. So I don't know what the answer is there, but it may be very well that if you communicate to your ideal client in their preferred language, that's maybe another way of standing out. I don't know. I don't have an answer for that. Let me see. I've got another tech question. So another tech question from, I need some clients, new and current, to sign a form. They are battling to print an email back now as they don't have stuff at home. What tech can I use? Terence, so I'm not going to answer that question right now. But we are busy putting something together to discuss on one of the live streams, particularly around electronic signatures and the law around it and all of those kind of things. So there are a lot of options. There are paid options. There are free options. A lot of them are international options, unfortunately. So you pay in dollars. But there is a company or two that I've managed to find here in South Africa to sort of see what they can do. But what I would like to do is for people to sort of maybe comment below and say, or in the chats, just mention maybe what, if you are using something. I know somebody like Russell Ho is definitely using that, but I'm going to have a show very soon just around that topic. So so stay tuned. We're definitely going to talk about that because it's something that has come up. Yes, so a PDF form, I know I'm with you there, because that is the thing. That in Acrobat Reader you can do that, but the problem is that a lot of people view that as not being secure. I know there is an option to encrypt some of those things, but for me it's like, how do we make it easy for clients? Because not everybody's got that tech sort of mindset, or that, no, it's easy, let's create an encrypted signature and then just put that on there. It's an easy thing to do, but you tell that to somebody who doesn't even really know what Adobe Reader is, then it becomes very, very difficult. So I'm looking for things like, what can we do in terms of like physical signatures? So obviously, if people are very comfortable using tablets and things, but if they don't only have a computer, how can they do it? If they have none of those things, can we maybe use things like OTPs, so one-time pins, etc.? But yeah, we're looking into it, Terence. I will definitely answer that in a future episode soon. Yes, when, I don't know when. It depends on, I've contacted a couple of people here in South Africa to ask if they would want to be on the show. So I'm waiting to hear back from them and to see. I'm also doing my own research on the back end. So if we don't get people who want to come on the show, that I will then at least be able to share with you what I found and options that you can get go and look at. So yeah, so I don't think it'll be this week. I think it'll be early next week. But I will definitely let you know around that. So just check. So what we've started doing is, like, as we post for the next session, I now started putting in what we're going to be talking about. So just have a look at that. Then, yes, I see Russell. Terence, check out LinkedIn. I see Russell is commenting there. Thank you, Russell. I know you've been using a few things in that space. So that's also part of this whole community thing. Let's help each other. Let's just, contribute. And I want you guys to interact with one another and set up relationships. I think that is very, very important that we do that. All right. Yeah. What else is there? So in terms of the websites, I think the other thing that I'm thinking just is that we need to start moving towards functionality and not just information. So what functionality are you offering on your website? Because as I said, you can either be the same or you can be unique, and that is up to you about what you want to do. And those things doesn't necessarily have to cost a lot of money. It's not that you have to build 50,000 or 100,000 rand websites, but you need more functionality on that website. Things that is valuable to people, or that make it easy for them to communicate with you, that makes it easy for them to interact with you, to send your information, etc., etc. So I think those things are very, very important. And then the other thing that I want to talk about quickly is then what you call it, email marketing. So email marketing is also a topic that I've spent a lot of time on since last year, particularly. I've always been sending emails to my community, and I've always been doing things. But last year I decided, I've always used MailChimp. So MailChimp is, like, everybody goes to MailChimp when they start out with email marketing because it's free. They've changed their plans so much that it's not, when I started, I could send 12,000 emails a month for free, which I never did. I maybe send 1 or 2 emails in a month. Initially, it was weekly, and then it became every second week or so. But I had an issue with deliverability. I had an issue with people not getting the emails and so forth. And also, it's like in MailChimp, you can build these beautiful newsletters, things that really look nice. If you've got an eye for design, it's easy. It's drag and drop, and it's change the colors and do this. There's no programming involved. There's no customization involved. It's all click and drag, and like what you see is what you get, kind of builder. So it's a great way to start and to get your feet wet. They've got some automation that you can do. At a stage when I had a blog on my personal website, I set up an automation within MailChimp to every month, if there was a new article, it would curate those articles from my website, put them into an email, and send them off to the people that was subscribed to that list. So I didn't have to do that. So there's those kind of things that you can do. They offer now things like landing pages, etc. So I'll talk about landing pages maybe in a different session. But that was actually also cool to learn about landing pages. I used that very successfully when we launched the Propulsion podcast. We managed to ramp up a lot of email subscribers, particularly for the podcast. And funny, since I've taken the landing page down, it's been very, very slow. So that thing definitely worked, and we use landing pages a lot. I've recently built a landing page for somebody who's launching a course now, and it's the feedback that we've gotten from her marketing people. It was fantastic, and that it's brilliantly done. And the whole idea behind that is, again, so you can take it. You can always take it a step further when you're on social media, there's a lot of noise. You go to your website, there's still some noise because there's so many things I can click on, and I don't know where to get started. That's part of the design, the website thing. Where do I start? A lot of advisors have these one-page websites today where you just scroll down and that's what it is. But your website and the next person's website and that person's website, in essence, looks the same. So there's no real like distinguishing like this is different. But what is great about the one-page websites is that there's no confusion, because even if you click on something, it just scrolls down. So, I don't even know if a menu is really necessary there to really show that. Just let somebody just scroll down the page and see what's coming up. But anyway, so there's still a bit of noise there from the point of view that you don't know where to click next and what to do next. A landing page is focused. It is the quietest place that you can have. That is a one-page, a one-page that's got everything on it. In the old days, when they started with these landing pages, you would think about it as a sales page. It had this long, you kept on scrolling, and it's text upon text upon text upon text. And those things worked, obviously, because people did click to buy at the end. But what you want is that you need to understand what is it that you want, but what do you want the user to do when they are on this landing page, and then you need to make sure that whatever is on that page speaks to that, and that you have the right call to action. So that call to action can be click this button to sign up on my newsletter. It can be to buy my product. It can be to join my course. It can be to join a free training. It can be just to view a special video, or to get a series of emails, or whatever the case may be, download a report, whatever that thing is. You just need to understand what is the outcome you want. And then that whole page is focused just on that. So it is the quietest place that you can have. It's not necessarily a page on your website, so that there won't be a link on your website to get to that page. You could do that if you wanted to. But if you want to, then that would usually be a separate thing where you just share out that link. It's a particular link that only goes to that site, and it's only available in the places that you actually go and share and distribute that link. So then you can also track where you're getting most traction from these things, etc. But that's landing pages. So we can definitely look in a future session around that, just to have a chat about, let me show you how a landing page looks, what it should do, etc. And yeah, but that's just how it goes. So social media is the most noisiest place. Your website is less noisy, but can still be confusing. And then a landing page would be something that's very focused, clean. There's no menus, no nothing. You can't click on anything to go anywhere. You stay on that page. So there's nothing to distract you from that. So those are all things that we need to start using. And if you want to do email marketing, which is the thing that I was actually talking about, is that you need something like that to get people to sign up to your newsletter. Often it is very, very difficult to get new clients. Cold calling is that still a thing? I know there's people that will believe in that till the day that they die. And that's cool. It has never been for me. I hate the rejection. I don't like that. That's why the online space has been fantastic for somebody like me. But you would want to start building your email list. And you can build a email list separate from your actual client email list, so that you are actually able to send different kinds of content. And there's two ways of doing that. You can actually have two separate lists, or you can use what is called tags, and you can just tag somebody. And in the system, you can then set up, and most of the email marketing systems will actually do this for you. I think, I'm not sure about MailChimp. Since they've started doing all these things, I've moved away. I'm now using ConvertKit for almost a year now. And I can tell you that within ConvertKit, what I can do is I can have certain automations running that I build, and to say that, okay, so if this client now does this, for instance, it would remove that tag and add a new tag, so that I move them from one list to the other automatically without me having to do that. And it'll take some time to build your whole email marketing setup and all the flows and the emails and everything that must go. But that's really possible. So what you want to do is to have a new group of clients that maybe once a month you communicate to them. With your actual clients, you may be communicating to them at least once a month, but maybe twice a month, because they've got a relationship with you. That's it. But here you want to use that to create more awareness. You want to create more brand. You want to do some more brand building, etc. And that's it. So again, everything is about strategy, and it's about consistency. It's about taking action, and over time, those things do yield results, which is something that I've seen in my own business doing that. I use a multitude of platforms. So I use obviously things like WhatsApp. I use email. And in these times, I'm sending a lot more emails than I used to in the past, because I feel that I have to communicate with everybody that is on my list. And the nice thing about my list is that every single person on there opted in. The bad thing is that they sometimes don't remember that they did that, because at all our face-to-face events, we would ask on the form, would you like us to add you to our email list? And they would say yes or no. And then I don't send an email for a month, and then I get an email, and then they say, but like, who's this guy? Because I remember somebody only met me maybe for the first time at that session, and a month later they can't even remember that they said they wanted. So I've had a couple of people who unsubscribed, who said that they never signed up to the list. So things like that will happen. Or what you will find is that you've got something valuable that you offer them to entice them to give you their email address, and once they've gotten that, they may unsubscribe. That's also cool. You've still got marketing material going into the world, and people sort of hearing and knowing about you. And I think the main thing about the online stuff is that we want to create that awareness, so that when the day that they do meet you in person, or the day that somebody does suggest to them that you should speak to Francois or to Russell or to Terence or whoever, then it's like, oh yeah, no, it feels like they know you already. And that is the power of the online thing. If you're looking for quick leads and things like that, unless you're selling, I don't know, coffee mugs or something like that, in the financial advisor space, those things are extremely dangerous. Not the coffee mugs, the quick lead from the internet. When I was an advisor at Absa Bank back in the day, my worst clients, two of them were walk-in clients, the worst. They came in, they said, this is what I want. And I thought, like, this was the best day of my life. I sold 2 products that they came and asked me for. That's exactly what they wanted. I gave them what they wanted. Everybody's happy. And then they didn't even pay one premium on that. And obviously there was a lapse later on. So those things I've learned is, when we attract people, walk-in people is just as good as having a Facebook ad out there. And somebody says, yeah, maybe I must look at life cover. And then I click the button because I've got nothing else to do. And then they do get the life cover. And then the first time the premium goes up, it's like, my dad always says that, when you buy a new car, it's great until you pay that first premium. So once you drive it off the floor, until you pay the first premium, is fantastic. Once you start paying that first repayment on that finance, it's not so great anymore. But anyway, so it's kind of the same thing. I think we should be very cognizant of the way that we communicate. We must be very clear who we're communicating to. And that's also something I'll talk about in the future. This week still a little bit about social media marketing and how you can go about, identifying who your ideal client is. How do you speak to them? Sort of what platforms to use, etc. So we'll talk about those things. But yeah, I think from that point of view, that's sort of my thing. There's 8 minutes left, then we're done. Is there any questions? I may end like 2 minutes early. I've got a 9 o'clock meeting that I need to attend on Zoom. Luckily, safe, easy to use, perfect. So if you still wanted to join us for the Zoom session, you can do so. You can go to francoisdutoit.co.za/Zoom. It'll take you to the registration link. We will be recording the session as well. So even if you just want to receive an email the day after, so the email will only go out on Wednesday to let you know what the link is to the recording. But yes, you can still sign up, although we oversubscribed. So there's only place for 100. We've got 180 people that has registered. And let me see where we are, because there was an email that went out this morning to tell people they can still register. That email was done before I found out about the 100 limit. So we're on 186 at the moment. So if you want to join, you're welcome to. What we will do is we will be, at the same time as we're doing the live Zoom webinar, I will also be broadcasting that directly to YouTube. So if you can't get into the Zoom session, you can go to my channel on YouTube and you can watch it there live as well. You can interact, you can post, you can do all of those good things. So you're more than welcome to do that. And then we will also send out the recording or a link to the recording afterwards. So you are more than welcome to do that. And yeah, and then, I mean, is there anything, just maybe a reminder? Yes, we're going live every single day from 8 until 9. And I'm going to do this for as long as possible, as long as I've got internet, as long as I'm alive, as long as this whole thing lasts, that we can't get out the house really, or that we shouldn't be, then I'm going to do this. It's very nice for my own personal well-being and my mindset and everything to be able to sit here and have something to come and do early in the morning. First thing, it's like getting up. It forces me to get up, because otherwise I will lie in bed and ask my wife to bring me tea. And then, I don't know, once in a while I'll bring her tea. And then, that's not what I want to do. I want to do, I want to have a purpose. I want to be busy. I want to be adding value. I want to be helping. And this is almost the only way I know how. And it'll be great for you to interact with me and talk to me and ask me questions, etc. So I'm very thankful, Terence, for you. You've been asking a lot of questions in all the sessions. Thank you so much for that. It really means a lot. It feels like I'm not alone in here. So thank you so much for doing that, and also for all the other interaction that you have with me offline as well. So yeah, I think I'm going to stop here today. And I just want to say thank you very much. If you've been here, if you're watching the recording, thank you very much. I wish you all a fantastic week. And you know what? Heads down. Let's do this. Let's see how we can serve people in new and different ways. And let's keep going. Everything's going to be okay. We just don't know for how long. I think last night we missed there was no announcement as far as I know. So the announcement never happened. So I guess today it may happen. But let's see what they say. Thank you very much. Then on my way out, I will say, Terence, thank you. I'm glad you've been enjoying these sessions. Thank you so much. And I hope that everybody's getting value. That is the most important thing, or that you just feel like you're just visiting a friend. That's what I want. And I hope you're having good coffee and that you have a fantastic day further. Thank you very much. I will see you tomorrow morning, same place, same time. Tomorrow will only be half an hour. So we're only going to go from 8 until 8:30, because at 9 a.m. we start with the Zoom training. And that Zoom training is packed. So there's a lot of additional value adds that I'm going to give you as part of that. Whether you're on the live Zoom or on YouTube or watching the recording, you'll be able to get those. So I look forward to seeing you. Have a fantastic one and chat soon. Cheers. Bye-bye.